This show is a mess. So I'm 6 episodes deep in this fucking pit of a show. And I wanted to give my opinion on it because there's only going to be 10 episodes of this series. And I think that's going to be the end of the series. I just have a hunch. But either way, 6 episodes in, I've gotten through the 6th episode because it just dropped. And I just finished it. And man, I got some opinions. Let's talk about the show. So, the animation, fucking horrid. I'll show you little pictures, screenshots, whatnot, because I can't show you any video footage of the show, because I'm sure that would be something they would take action against or some shit like that. But either way, some screenshots showing you some of the beautiful shit that this anime has to offer. And man, it's just horrible. It just looks awful. I don't know what they were going for, what they were looking to appease any kind of audience with this, because it really looks bland and lazy. I could show you countless examples, but my goodness, this show just does not look appealing at all. The biggest thing that I find interesting about the visuals, the animation, is the weapons, the vehicles, and everything else looks actually not fucking bad. Not half bad. Some of the visuals in the anime looks actually pretty fucking good, but none of the characters. All the characters look like shit. It's like the creator of this show really wanted to show how good the visuals could have looked in this fucking anime, but really failed on the major part, which is the characters. The weapons, the vehicles, everything else looks literally more detailed than the characters. And it makes the anime fall super flat. And just unappealing in my opinion. Some people I've heard spouting on Twitter and other platforms saying, it doesn't look half bad. Well, everything else but the characters do. But the characters look just soulless and just very bland. Very lazy, very simplistic, and just not my forte. Even some of the fight scenes, they'll transition to a 3D model instead of the 2D model for their fight scenes, and it just looks atrocious. The first 4 episodes of the anime are just fucking awful. It explains nothing, and it makes you feel more confused than anything else. So you're watching 1 through 4, and it's just basically a jumbled mess of this story arc of Morty, this new character L, and Rick, going through this whole storyline of finding out who L is and explaining this whole story of what the fuck's going on, because it's going from future scenes, past scenes, and present scenes. Like, literally, a scene that's shown in the first episode isn't finished until the 5th fucking episode, which is a Jerry episode, and it's just fucking so silly. You have literal scenes jumping back and forth from future and past and to different scenes that make no sense or connect to other scenes, that it makes the whole story and anime incoherent. The 5th episode, just like the first 4, is a jumbled mess, but it explores a different story from the first 4 episodes, and it goes and mainly focuses on Jerry and a little story with Jerry. He ends up being teleported into a different dimension. He ends up meeting Prime Jerry, and he ends up doing a bunch of stuff, becoming a superhero, and it's actually pretty cool with the visuals, with the suit that he wears, the little powers that he can do. It's pretty kind of visually entertaining, but other than that, it's still just a jumbled mess, and it's just super hard to understand anything that's going on because of how many cuts this show has. The 6th episode is the only solid episode in the entire fucking series where it's not jumping back and forth and with random scenes and shit like that, because this is an actual episode. A episode where you can understand what's going on, and there's an actual story going from A to B, instead of just A, Z, B, D, shit like that, right? It is a solid episode, and it's actually not bad. It serves as a origin story, sort of, to what's been happening in the first 5 episodes, and explores, you know, a bit of information, tells us more information on L, and also serves as a present point in the series, specifically because of a line that's exchange between Rick and Elle and his secret laboratory or underground laboratory, whatever. But because of this dialogue exchange between Elle and Rick, we actually find more about the story that they're trying to present or show here. So, in the first 5 episodes, we end up finding out that there's a Rick that is jumping from different dimensions. His mind is jumping from different Ricks in different dimensions. And a dialogue or a line that he says in one of the episodes is, "Oh boy, I'm in another Rick's reality," showcasing what we're seeing. What would have made the show more coherent and understandable for me is if they would have focused on the perspective of Rick throughout this entire series, instead of jumping back and forth from future and past scenes with Morty, Elle, and Rick. There's a lot of scenes without Rick, which makes it more confusing when you understand what they're trying to present with the Rick storyline, etc. So the story that's been laid out so far that at least I can understand is Rick found this object in space. It's causing a distortion in space and time, and Elle is connected to it somehow. Elle or this object is causing all the stuff that is happening in the series, all this jumping back and forth from future and past. It doesn't make it a good show, and it doesn't make it visually enjoyable, but at least this is what I'm trying to understand. She is also the cause of Rick jumping from different dimensions, and this is shown evident in the 6th episode in this dialogue.
Please don't misunderstand. I have nothing but appreciation for you, Rick. It was thanks to you that I was able to meet Morty.
First you rescue Beth and Bird Person, and then you showed me all those stupid fantasies, so now you think you won me over?
Those weren't fantasies, and you know better. Besides, that device caused the time distortion, which only happened when you brought it through that fissure in space-time. I just happened to get swept up in it.
Living in the other versions of me sucked. That was a cheap shot.
That dialogue there tries to explain the story better than anything else in the entire fucking series. Throughout the entire first 6 episodes, that dialogue right there is the only thing that tries to mend anything that is in this entire anime. And it falls flat because most of the people that have started this show have already fucking given up on it. This show doesn't even resemble any of the source material of the original Rick and Morty show. And standing on its own 2 legs, it's not a good show. The story that they try to represent in bits and pieces throughout the entire series is not even a good fucking storyline. The story they're showing here with Elle, Morty, and Rick just really isn't that interesting. The whole idea of Rick jumping back and forth from different dimensions because a thing that he found in space, or this being that he found, is more interesting than anything else in the entire series, and that's not even the main focus of the anime. If they would have focused, like I said, on the perspective of Rick and the stuff that was going on around him, then everything else that was going on, it would have actually made it an interesting show and more watchable than it is. In conclusion, this show is fucking awful. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sure that's not a surprise to anyone. There are some people that really do like this show, which I personally don't understand what's to like about the show. The visuals are awful, the animation is awful, the voice acting is okay, but everything about the show is just a jumbled mess, and it seems like they put it together within fucking maybe a few months, because it really looks like a awful piece of shit, not gonna lie. I mean, I don't know where the budget went for this anime, but it definitely went down the drain, because the story, the writers were definitely not there, because the story they're trying to fucking coherently tell is not there. You basically have to piece it together. The visuals look fucking awful. The budget for the weapons, the fucking vehicles, everything else were higher than the actual characters, which just visually you can literally see that. It's just insane to me. And just everything else is just a huge disappointment. I don't know what you expect from a Rick and Morty anime, but this is just super bad. So far, there is absolutely nothing to like about this show. Now, for all the people that are veterans of my channel, I know this is different type of content, but I want to incorporate more variety into my channel. I do a lot more streaming and gaming content. I'm going to be uploading gaming content on my channel, but I also want to upload, you know, topics that I'm interested in and want to talk about and whatnot. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay lifted. Cheers. Have a good one.